Welcome to another QuestTrack tutorial. This tutorial discusses navigating QuestTrack's Google Map. We're going to bring up now the QuestTrack software. Let me fire it up here. And what you're watching is the amount of time it takes for QuestTrack to go out. About 9 hours worth of demo data, and that should take about the same amount of time as it takes for you to load data. So 9 hours of data is quite a bit. That's a lot of driving in a particular day. Here we have four vehicles that are being represented in our demo, and keep in mind that these are real devices that were recorded, pre-recorded, and supplied for our demo purposes. I'm going to move my mouse to the center of the screen, and you'll see the hand at the center of the screen. There's a lot of other activity going on the screen, and I'm going to discuss that, but I want to show you that I'm going to move the mouse to the left edge of the screen, and you saw a lot of activity that occurred. What happened was all of the vehicles were put back to their starting positions during this 24-hour period. Notice that there are four vehicles that are being represented. I'm going to move the mouse down to the screen, down to the timeline, so I can show you. Unit number 1 is what we're calling the delivery route, and you can give a name, whatever name you want to your units, but this one's called the delivery route, and it's going to represent a delivery path that goes around the Allentown, Bethlehem area in Pennsylvania, and it's a real delivery route. The second one we're just calling by the name Rob, and the third one by Sam, and the fourth one by Jill. And so all of these four units are at their starting points during this day. The day starts at 3 a.m. because we chose, you can also start it at midnight, but I find that 3 a.m. is a little bit a better choice because that's later than anyone usually goes to bed and earlier than people usually get up. So it captures all the information for a particular day. These four vehicles are at their starting points. The starting points are marked by a green octagon on the map, and the ending points are marked by a red octagon on the map. Their current points are marked by a square of varying colors, and then right next to their square is a little box that gives the information about that particular device. For instance, you can see we have Jill and Sam and Rob and the delivery route all at their starting points. Now, as I move the mouse from left to right across the screen, you're going to see the vehicles travel their routes, and this is a very effective way to allow you to go through the animation as fast as you want or as slowly as you want. You can back up, find where the device is at a particular location. It's a very handy way of being able to easily and quickly navigate the display. Now, as we move along, you'll notice that the timeline down below, there are arrows, and each arrow is pointing to the point in time that the particular device is at that location. And the red marks on the timeline represent data points on the map. In other words, where there's no red, the vehicle is at rest, and where there's red, the vehicle is in motion. Also, there's a little arrow below each of those that you can see where the present time is. Next to each vehicle, you see, for instance, looking up at the top of the screen, there's number 2 is Rob, and right now I have stopped at time 11:07 in the morning a.m., and he's going 4.5 miles per hour, and he has traveled 65.75 miles already this day. And so that's what's happening, is these mileages at the bottom are telling how much mileage has been racked up in this time period, which is one day. Okay, now I continue driving across the map, or moving my cursor across the map, and as I do, you see the devices continue to follow their paths. Down below, they're approaching the end of their paths, and so when I get all the way to the right side of the map, all of the devices are at their resting points. All of them have finished their traveling. And so now you can see how far each one of them has gone. The delivery route was 147 miles this day. Sam drove 67 miles. And by the way, you can move your mouse up and down, and you'll see the devices toggle so that no one is hidden behind another all the time. So here's Sam and Rob and Jill, and you can see each one of them occurring one by one. Some Google features Down in the bottom right corner there is a super map that shows where this map exists on a little larger area. We're just north of Philadelphia in the Allentown area. You can click on that and minimize it so you have more map showing. In the left corner you have the scale so that you can see what the mileages look like on this map. And these are Google features. You also can zoom in and out using this zoom feature. Now, currently there is a little bit of a you have to double click on the zoom out and zoom in to get them to work. A single click doesn't work, but a double click will cause it to zoom out. And same thing. Now we're zooming out, and a double click will cause it to zoom in. You can do a single click to actually move the map around on the scale, but there's a double click required for zooming out and zooming in. Up in the top we have the QuestTrack logo and the QuestTrack name, and then there's a time here. It shows a day and an hour and a minute and a second, and those are the times that have elapsed since the last data point. Now on this tutorial, actually the last data point was looks like about 11 o'clock, and it's only 10:47 as I'm making this video, so it's showing a negative amount of time and it's counting down. But under normal circumstances that would be a count up time, and it shows how long it's been since you last heard from one of your vehicles. The next number here, 6,586, is the number of data points that are on this map, and there are about 700 data points to an hour, so this map has about 9 hours worth of data points on it. Let's see, what else? Also, you have two little windows here. One says TBL and one says KBD. The TBL is a table which you can bring up anytime you want just by mousing over it, and it will show you what the hotkeys on QuestTrack do. And we have a separate tutorial for telling what all those hotkeys are, but just suffice it to say that you can refer to that at any time. As soon as you bring your cursor off of it, it will disappear. Bring your cursor onto that box and it reappears. Okay, that's the table. Then for the keyboard, you can go to that one, and as you mouse over the keyboard, the keys, it will show you what each key does. So these are very useful for, you don't have to remember what all the hotkeys are. They're always right there in the upper left hand corner. The menu is always available for bringing down a menu, so I can click on there and then you can see all the elements that are in the menu. Once again, we're going to go through that in a separate tutorial, but it will just use what we need to show you this tutorial. Below that is a time, and this is the time for the beginning time for the map when the display occurs. So it's showing Tuesday, September 3rd at 3 a.m. And this Tuesday, September 3rd, you can change by just bringing this down. On the tutorial, it won't matter. Every day is like every other day. So if you change the day, you'll get the same display. But on a real day, you can move it to another day. You don't have to just show one day, because when this text box goes back up, it will show a lower one, and you'll see that shows Wednesday, September 14th right now. So that you can change it from one day to multiple days, or hours, minutes, any amount you want. You can change the amount of time by just clicking, and so this shows 9/13/11. You can change right here to another date. You can change to another hour, another minute, another second, AM or PM. And for changing the date, you can actually more easily do it by clicking on the menu or on the pull-down box and showing the month, and then you can move through the months and change to something else if you'd like. So we'll go back to where we were here. Okay, so that's the map, and then you click on reload to reload, which we don't need to do at this time. But you can see that there's an awful lot going on this map. That's giving you a lot of information, so you can tell where the vehicles are at each time, because at each time, no matter where you have the mouse showing, it's showing where all the vehicles are at that particular time. And even if one is parked, it shows where that vehicle is parked. So right now, let's zoom in a little bit, and we can see one of these. Well, let's do one other thing first. Let's also look at some of the things, such as the ability to tell what's going on around a particular location. So let's say I want to know what's going on down here at the intersection of Interstate 476 and 78. If I right-click here, you can say display nearby data points list. So if you click on that, it will bring up a list of the points that are closest to that point where you clicked. So you can see where the vehicles are, which unit it is, 1, 2, or so forth, the distance that it's gone that day. I'm trying to find a place where you can put it on this small map. The speed that it was going at that time, and as you put your mouse over each one of these times, it will also display on the map where the vehicle was at that particular time. So, and you can tell which direction it was going. This one was going east by northeast. This one was going southwest, for example. So that's a very useful map. Another one very useful, especially if you want to, if you're wanting to know that your employees are driving their vehicles safely, or if your teen driver is driving safely, you can also go and say display a max speed points list. So if I click on that, it will show the top highest speeds that were driven by all the vehicles on the map. For instance, the highest one here was at 75.3 miles an hour, and you can see the location where that it was right about down here. Now when I move my mouse, it's not there anymore, but if I mouse over it, you can see it there, down just north of Emmaus. 74.6 right next to it, 74.6, 73.9. So you can go down and see all the highest speeds, which unit was driving, what the distance was on the route that day, that it took that day. And that's about all. And the time and the exact time right down to the second of when that occurred. So I think that's as much as we want to do on this particular tutorial. I invite you to go to other tutorials to get more details on other aspects of this map. Thank you very much.